A neighbor heard music playing for more than 24 hours straight. Not loud enough to be a party, not quiet enough to ignore, just music, on repeat, coming from behind a locked apartment door in New York City's Lower East Side. When no one answered, a wellness check was called in. And inside that apartment, Peter Greene, the actor millions recognized instantly but few truly knew, was found dead. He was 60 years old, and almost immediately, the internet began doing what it always does when a familiar face disappears without warning, asking questions, filling in blanks, and replaying scenes from movies that never really left people's minds in the first place. Because Peter Greene wasn't just another actor, he was that guy. The one who made audiences uncomfortable without saying much. The one who could walk into a scene and quietly shift the entire energy of a movie. And in the end, his story closed the same way many of his most haunting roles began, quietly, unexpectedly, and with more questions than answers. According to reports, Greene was found deceased inside his Manhattan apartment on Friday, December 12th. His manager, Greg Edwards, confirmed the news shortly after, explaining that concern was raised when music continued playing inside the apartment for over a full day. A neighbor eventually contacted authorities, prompting a wellness check. There were no immediate signs of foul play reported, and as of now, no official cause of death has been released. That lack of answers is what instantly fuels speculation online. Some fans jumped to conclusions, others urged caution, and many simply sat with the strange detail that keeps coming up in every report: the music. Because there's something deeply unsettling about that image. Sound. Continuing in a space where life has already stopped. It feels cinematic, almost scripted. And for a man whose entire career revolved around unforgettable moments on screen, it somehow feels tragically fitting. But before the theories and headlines, before the rumors and online debates, it's worth asking a more important question. Who was Peter Greene before he became one of Hollywood's most recognizable villains? Peter Greene was born in Montclair, New Jersey in October of 1965, and from an early age, his life didn't follow a smooth or predictable path. Reports over the years say Greene ran away from home as a teenager. For a period of time, he was homeless, living on the streets of New York City, the same city where he would later be found decades later. This wasn't a polished child actor to Hollywood pipeline story. Greene didn't pursue acting seriously until his mid-20s. He wasn't groomed by the industry. He didn't come from privilege or fame. He came from survival. And that matters. Because when people later talked about how real his performances felt, that intensity didn't come from nowhere. It came from lived experience. In the early 1990s, Greene started landing small television roles. One episode here, one scene there. Nothing flashy. But casting directors noticed something about him. He didn't act like someone pretending to be dangerous. He acted like someone who understood it. In 1994, Quentin Tarantino released Pulp Fiction, and even among a cast filled with iconic performances, Peter Greene's role as Zed carved out a place in movie history that still unsettles audiences today. Without going into graphic detail, Greene played a character that embodied something deeply disturbing. Not loud, not exaggerated, but calm and casual in a way that made it worse. It wasn't overplayed. It wasn't theatrical. It felt real. And that's why the character stuck. Decades later, people still reference that scene, still react to it, still say the same thing. That guy made my skin crawl. But here's the thing most viewers never realized. That role wasn't the peak of his career. It was just the beginning of a very specific lane. The same year Pulp Fiction hit theaters, Peter Greene appeared in another movie that exploded into pop culture, The Mask. This time, the tone was completely different. Bright colors, comedy, Jim Carrey at his most elastic and over the top. And yet, Greene's villain, Dorian Tyrell, somehow still felt grounded and threatening. While Carrey's character bounced off the walls, Greene stayed controlled, cold, calculated. He didn't need exaggerated dialogue or dramatic monologues. His presence did the work. And just like that, Hollywood knew exactly where to place him. Peter Greene became the go-to actor when a movie needed someone who felt authentically dangerous. After Pulp Fiction and The Mask, Greene didn't transition into leading man territory. Instead, he became something arguably more powerful. A character actor audiences trusted. He appeared in The Usual Suspects, then Blue Streak, then Training Day. In Training Day, he played a detective caught in a morally compromised situation. Again, without theatrics, without grand speeches, there's a line he delivers in that film that fans still quote to this day. And it wasn't loud, it wasn't flashy, it was chilling. That was Greene's specialty. He didn't dominate screen time, he haunted it. And while some actors chase fame, Greene carved out something different: longevity. He kept working, kept popping up, kept getting cast when directors needed someone believable in the shadows. Here's where the story shifts, because almost everyone who worked with Peter Greene said the same thing. Off-screen, he wasn't what you'd expect. His manager, Greg Edwards, described him as gentle, generous, someone who would give you the shirt off his back. People who knew him personally said he cared deeply about others, even though he had a reputation in the industry for being difficult at times. And that contradiction, intimidating presence on screen, kindness off camera, followed him his entire career. But it also masked deeper struggles. Over the years, reports surfaced about Greene's struggles with addiction. In the late 1990s and early 2000s, his life reportedly became unstable at times. Arrests, rehab stints, setbacks that affected both his personal life and professional momentum. At one point, reports say Greene attempted to end his own life before later seeking treatment. These are not details to sensationalize, but they are part of the full picture, because they explain something important. Peter Greene didn't disappear from Hollywood because audiences forgot him. He stepped in and out of the industry while fighting battles most people never saw. And despite those struggles, he kept coming back. What many casual fans don't realize is that Greene never truly stopped working. He appeared in television shows like The Black Donnellys, Life on Mars, Chicago PD, and For Life. More recently, he showed up in The Continental, the John Wick prequel series, introducing him to a whole new generation of viewers. And in 2025, he appeared in an episode of Dope Thief. Even more telling. According to his manager, Greene had upcoming projects lined up, including an independent film called Mascots and a documentary he was set to narrate. This wasn't a story of someone long removed from the industry. This was a working actor, which is why his death came as such a shock to people close to him. December 12th, 2025, Lower East Side, Manhattan, music playing, door closed, no response. When authorities entered the apartment, Peter Greene was gone. No cause of death announced, no public explanation yet, and until that changes, anything beyond confirmed details is speculation. But what remains undeniable is how abruptly his story ended, without a farewell post, without a public goodbye, without closure, just silence, with music still playing. Peter Greene will always be remembered as one of Hollywood's most unsettling villains, but that label only tells half the story. He was also a survivor, a working actor who never stopped trying, a man who carried both darkness and compassion in equal measure. He's survived by his sister and brother, and now his performances live on. Still disturbing, still powerful, still impossible to forget. Because some actors don't fade away when they leave the screen. They linger, and Peter Greene was one of them. And here's the part that should bother you. Peter Greene spent his entire career playing the kind of men everyone swears they'd recognize in real life. The dangerous ones, the cold ones, the guys you're supposed to stay away from. But when his real life ended, it didn't look like a movie scene. No cameras, no dramatic moment, no final words, just music still playing, while nobody noticed he was already gone. And that raises an uncomfortable question nobody's really asking out loud. Do we actually care about people like Peter Greene? Or do we only care about the characters they played? Because Hollywood loved him when they needed a villain. But when the cameras stopped rolling, when the roles slowed down, when the struggles got real, where was the noise then? Some people online are already speculating about what really happened that night. Others are saying we shouldn't even be asking questions yet. And maybe they're right. But here's what can't be ignored. This is a man who survived the streets, survived addiction, survived being typecast, survived being written off, and still ended his story alone in an apartment, with a playlist playing for over 24 hours before anyone checked. So I want to know what you think, and don't give the safe answer. Do you think actors like Peter Greene are quietly forgotten once they stop being useful to the industry? Or do you think this is just a tragic reminder that fame doesn't protect anyone when the lights turn off? And one more question, the one people usually avoid. If this happened to a bigger name, would it have taken 24 hours for someone to notice? Drop your honest thoughts in the comments, not the polite ones. This isn't about gossip. It's about reality, because Peter Greene played villains for a living. But the way his story ended might say more about us than it does about him.